So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my review of the Avengers Endgame, and be advised, guys, this will contain spoilers, and if you guys are tuning in, and if you haven't seen the movie, you better turn away right now. You better turn away right now, because this will contain tons and tons of spoilers. But if you don't mind seeing spoilers or hearing spoilers, then you've come to the right place. And I'm Kyle the Pug.
That is correct.
And I have some people with me today. And we have the Mattman98 with us, who's seen the movie, and Ray the Rabbit, who's also seen the movie. And we're going to discuss our thoughts and, you know, our opinions of the movie itself. And this will be on YouTube as well, so don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you're watching this on the on-demand on YouTube, and if you're, of course, if you're live watching on Twitch. Thank you guys so much for watching. It helps me keep going for you guys. It definitely does, for sure. So let's get right to the video or the stream, whatever you want.
That's my favorite scene right now.
Okay, Ray, you're itching to say it, so I'll just let you get it over with right now.
All right, first thing you need to know: Captain America grabs Thor's hammer.
Why would you start there?
Why would you start there? Yeah, why would you start there?
You ruined the movie.
Because it's like, okay, first off, now how the fuck does it come out of nowhere where Captain America grabs Mjolnir?
Okay, let me explain that. Okay, so this is something that we've been arguing quite a bit. The reason why he was worthy is because of the fact that you remember in Age of Ultron, the one thing that Captain America had as a guilty conscience is he knew that Bucky killed Tony Stark's dad. Therefore, he was not worthy because he was lying to his friend. He was lying and keeping a secret for all these years. He admitted it. He said, I knew that. He's like, did you know that he killed my father? And he said, yes. So, and then after that movie, guess what happens? He's worthy now because he has no more secrets. He is honorable. He's looking to save his friend's life. He wanted to sacrifice everything. That's what Thor felt like too when Mjolnir came back to him in the Thor first movie. He was a cocky SOB, but then when he sacrificed his life for the humans on Earth, he was worthy. So.
And actually, yeah, speaking of those Marvel movies, I like how they actually went back in time and replayed some of those iconic cutscenes from those movies.
Easter egg, by the way, with
the moment
Loki.
They showed New York, I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna go down.
Now Loki, by the way, that Easter egg for Loki for his show is actually people were wondering with this little spin-off for Loki's little TV show on the Disney Network, how is it gonna happen?
Right.
And because they went back in time and they screwed up getting the what they call that thing in the blue cube. What was that called?
The cube,
Tesseract.
The Tesseract. Also, which make for the Soul Stones, yeah.
Yeah. So they screwed up that, so now Loki can come back, and he's alive again. A conniving Loki,
the thing I don't understand is the logic of the freaking time travel thing. Like I heard Bruce saying something about that if you go to the past and change an event or whatever, it doesn't change the future.
Remember, if you remember hearing, I was gonna say, if you remember hearing quantum physics. Like, I remember, I just remember that Ant-Man's, 5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah, 5 days is like 5 hours. And I remember, who was it that said it? I think it was Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man was the one that said it. Like,
yeah, he did.
Because 5 hours feels like, 5 years or, all that other jazz. And I mean, I had a feeling that quantum physics, well, of course quantum physics was talked about, in the last couple of Marvel, especially, Infinity War, especially when they were talking about quantum physics, and the Ant-Man movie especially. So yeah, I felt like when I was seeing it for the first time, I felt like time travel was going to play a part in it, and honestly for me, I knew it was, and I hate being right, but obviously, yeah, you knew they were going to travel back in the past and try to undo their mistakes.
That's a self-spoiler is what it was. That's what it was, is the fact that you knew
I didn't have to look it up to figure that out.
You're like, oh, crap.
Like, I didn't even have to look it up. It just kicked in the back of my head. Like, I knew it was going to happen. As soon as they were talking about time travel.
Head, like a butterfinger on my teeth.
That's a new one, Bill. Bill Clinton chiming in right now. So, anyways, what was your guys' I know Ray talked about his favorite parts of the whole movie, but what was your guys' favorite part? I kind of want to discuss this. Like, Matt, what was your favorite?
Okay, you know what? Can I say something?
Ray?
No, I said Matt. I said Matt.
Go ahead.
I said Matt.
Wow,
wait your turn.
Wow,
Wait your
Ray.
turn.
I have to say that entire movie, like, it was an emotional roller coaster ride, so it was really hard.
There was no
decipher.
There was a couple parts that made me
man,
cry.
tears.
Yeah, there was a
Man,
couple
tears,
parts
for
that made me cry. I actually I actually brought tissues to the movie. I literally
Actually,
did.
it's funny because one of the ladies
right
actually
mind.
sort of spoiled the movie for the missus too, because she's like, "Oh, do you bring tissue?" She's like, "Why?" It's like, "You're gonna cry a lot." I'm gonna cry, and I was like, "Shut up! You're not supposed to say that." But no, but the one part that really hit me was Tony's deal, and people were wondering why.
Oh, Iron Man's Tony Stark's funeral. Yeah, that hit me.
Yeah, when he was talking to his daughter Morgan, saying that "Love You 3000," that hit me hard.
Yeah,
because all I could do was think of my son at that time.
Because Tony or Iron Man, because how he died, he sacrificed himself to save humanity.
Which is ironic too, because if you think about what
Thanos out of existence.
There were a lot of Easter eggs that they said throughout movies where he was saying, "Okay, buddy, thanks, bud." Oh. Alex just handed me a pepperoni. My jam. So if you think about all the times that they've said that Tony will not lay his life on the line, like I think it was Avengers 1, where Captain America mentioned how it's like, take that suit of armor off me. What are you? He makes this smart-ass remark saying, "Billionaire, playboy, I can't say the word, philanthropist." But then his point was that he said, "You're the guy," paraphrasing of course, "you're the type of guy who would sit there and wouldn't take the bullet for the team. You would just push the guy in front of you so you save your own ass." In a sense, he said that. And the irony is, the close of his story is that on many occasions, he's proven Captain America wrong. He went into deep space to stop the Chitauri from coming and blew up that ship we thought was Thanos inside. And then also, he sacrificed himself, of course, at Endgame. And people are wondering, like, how did he get the Infinity Stones off of Thanos so quickly? And you think about it, the gauntlet that he made was Stark Tech. It was Stark Tech is what it was. And so naturally, if he wanted to will the stones to come off, he could naturally have them transfer over to his Iron Man hand.
It was the look on Thanos' face said it all.
That's a look of, oh shit.
The look on his face literally stole the whole story. It stole the entire movie. Like, when he saw that, he knew he was screwed.
And now it makes sense why Doctor Strange saved his life in Infinity War.
Well, if you think about it, too, that line he said at the beginning of the fight, in the middle of the fight, where Iron Man looked at Doctor Strange, he's saying, "Is this the one scenario you were talking about?" And Doctor Strange said, "If I told you, it won't happen." So that's kind of like his way of telling Tony, this is what needs to happen, Tony, without even telling him, you need to
and then when he held, and then you hit that, and he saw them point up that one, it gave you that hint that it was going to be the right one.
The one, and Tony's just like, okay. But the iconic thing is the Russos did a really good job wrapping a lot of stories up in the original people. There are still some that are obviously still alive. But they did a really good job with that because his final line in the movie was, "I am Iron Man." Snaps his fingers.
Yeah, I am Iron Man.
All the Chitauri.
Yeah, and Thanos too. And Thanos. Let's not forget that also.
Yeah. Save the worst for last.
Save the worst for last. Exactly.
Yeah. But then you also think of Captain America's thing and how he went back in time to be with Peggy, and that was actually a really feel good moment because you lose Tony Stark, people are crying their balls off or crying their eyes out.
And then Captain America, Steve Rogers comes back as an old man.
Yeah. Well, he technically, I think he probably still was. He's probably still was Steve Rogers / Captain America.
Yeah,
and he probably did
but
good
in
back
another
in his time.
timeline.
Yeah, but he stayed with Peggy and finally got to be with her. It's the one thing he wanted, and they hinted that when they were back in 1970, where he saw Peggy Carter walking around S.H.I.E.L.D., and he was just like sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, I just want us to barge through the door and say I'm alive." But it was a good ending to his storyline about how that he brought all the stones back to where they should have been, and then he stuck around to be with Peggy. And the best part is they did a nice little homage to the comic books, where he hands off the shield to Falcon to kind of hand the reins of Captain America over to him.
People wanted him to hand the shield to Bucky, but it wouldn't make sense because Bucky was a terrorist, and I don't think anybody would want him as Captain America. Like,
the fun thing is too is that Sebastian Stan did confirm on a late night show that they're doing a spin-off with Bucky and Falcon. They're going to be having their own TV show on the Disney Network as well.
Yeah, so, but I'm saying it wouldn't be a good idea to make Bucky as Captain America.
No, because he's not nearly worthy of that. But that was really good close to that. By the way, R.I.P. to my girl Scarlett Johansson.
That was another thing. I love how it was who was it? Hawkeye and Black Widow. They were trying to fight it out just to see who would sacrifice them, who first. Yeah,
sad thing is with that is that people were arguing, going, well, wait a minute, why is it that Gamora died in that step, and then they ever don't bring her back? But the point is that
it changed the entire. It changed the entire future.
He's already seen it. Yeah, but it's like, here's the thing though, is that people are going, well, wait a minute, since Gamora died and then he got the stone, then if they go back, and they keep saying all these things, I told them, no, you missed the point. Stayed dead. They just went back to the past.
Yeah, they just went back. Yeah,
they just went back to the past.
2013, 2014. I think it was
exactly.
That means
somewhere around there.
Gamora stayed dead.
She stayed dead in the future, but then the past version of her hadn't been with Thanos yet, so that wouldn't have changed anything. They would stay the same.
Well, speaking of Guardian's story, I don't mean to interrupt you, but how about the relationship between Thor and Rocket Raccoon? That they play off each other so damn well, and I feel
it's like big brother and little brother.
I mean, I don't know if this will ever happen, but
a
spin-off
between Thor was fat the entire movie.
Yeah, a spin-off between Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy. That would be I would actually see that if they made a spin-off of that. That would actually be something.
You like that Fortnite reference in the movie? I guess Fortnite paid him a bunch of money to get that in there.
Yeah,
I like where Thor's talking smack to the kid. He's like, "I will rain down the power upon you if you don't change your mouth." I just want somebody in while they're playing Fortnite to say that, like Thor, just quote Thor directly, like, "If you don't stop cursing to my friend, I will rain down terror upon your household. Your mother will be." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Thor."
Out of that mother's basement you crawled in.
It was kind of weird seeing Thor, like, being a fat ass the entire movie. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's something that Penguiner mentioned that, I don't know if he's watching right now, but he mentioned that was one thing he didn't like about how Thor was fat the entire movie. Even in the final battle, he was fat. But I do like how, like, kind of tie back into Mjolnir, how they've had both hammers, and he used both. Him and Cap were basically smacking the tar out of him. But I was kind of curious why it is that Captain America went back in time with the Mjolnir hammer. Is he trying to return it back to Thor's time or something? That was kind of odd that he brought the hammer with him.
It was never really explained, though. I don't think it was explained.
Yeah. Well, maybe he still has it. I don't know. Yeah, the hammer is the biggest question mark. Like, wait a minute, where is it? Did he bring it back to the past Thor and give it back to him? Because, I mean, it would make sense because he returns the hammer to where it originally came, and Thor would, eventually in his story arc, lose the hammer again to his evil stepsister. But, I guess that's what they were kind of going with.
Stepsister.
What'd you guys think of that moment where, Kyle, I was mentioning to you, I was going to talk about this after you saw the movie. So, the fact they wanted to be politically correct, and they had all of the women heroes band together for one badass scene.
That was pretty awesome. I'll admit, that was actually pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, but give some GGs to Scarlet Witch for beating the crap out of Thanos. Like, holy crap. She was about to kill him.
Oh, Captain Marvel, too. Like, she went 1v1 against him.
Yeah, she went to
she
town
stopped
on
him in
Thanos.
his tracks. She stopped him in his tracks. He's trying to crush her hand, and she's like, nope. And she went with her powers. Oh my god.
But I swear, Wanda was about to kill Thanos, and then he had no choice but to fire down fucking explosives on the planet.
I just have, I don't know, seeing all the women of the Marvel Cinematic Universe together, fighting together, with the exception to Jane, of course, but having them all fight, but then not seeing Scarlett Johansson, aka the Widow, with them, leading the pack with them. It was hard to see them fighting together without her, because she basically was the leader of that women's group, that entire group of women heroes. And actually, that's a shout out to another comic book reference to the female Avengers. They did a lot. There were like 220 Easter eggs, I think.
A-Force, right?
I think so. Yeah, A-Force, I think. Yeah. But thoughts about how you think that Morgan, his daughter, is going to become Iron Man, or at least what she called herself. I think she called herself something completely different than Iron Man. It was something else. But
I mean, honestly, it's hard. It's hard even for me, because you got all these. Because you know the traditional Marvel movies where they like play like an extra scene right at the end. They didn't have that.
Yep.
They did not have that, right? They had like, of course, something. They did have a little thing where they signed autograph, like the signatures of like everybody who was in the movie, or majority of everybody.
What that noise at the end? The noise at the end was basically paying respects to the man who started this entire Marvel series in Iron Man, having the scene where he was building the his Mach 1 Iron Man suit, the hammering of the iron, basically. So I think that was good. They did that to pay respects to the guy who basically started it all. I mean, he wasn't the director, but you get what I mean. The guy who made it popular.
Oh, yeah.
He kickstarted this entire series with his amazing acting and great skill job of Tony Stark's cocky attitude and Iron Man as a character.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna miss Robert Downey Jr. in the movies because of his humor. He adds so much humor. Oh my God, his quick wit is so good.
Yeah,
I don't think they can replace Iron Man now. Like, honestly,
they're not gonna replace him.
I think my favorite nickname of all the movies he said was Reindeer Games to Loki in the Avengers movie. He's like, "Hey, Reindeer Games, stay down." I love all these nicknames. So
I remember when he called Rocket a talking Build-A-Bear or whatever.
That was the best line in the movie. Oh my gosh, that has Penguin rolling too. We were talking about that. We were just dying about that. Like.
Oh my God!
He's like, I just realized you're alive. You're actually not a Build-A-Bear.
he's like, yeah, because Mama Pug is actually trying to. He's like, be quiet, you Build-A-Bear.
Oh my gosh!
That literally was the best line in the whole movie, hands down.
Well, I mean, we kind of figured going in.
It's harder than freaking Thor calling him a rabbit.
Oh, we kind of figured going in that. I think that we knew that Tony was gonna die. I mean, because you remember when you figured he was gonna die, when he said no regrets. I mean, he was able to accomplish all he wanted to accomplish, and when all was finished, that's why Pepper said that you can rest now. And I think everybody in the crowd was pretty much tearing up when they saw Spider-Man. I mean, it's kind of like it's ironic that the movie before Tony watches Spider-Man disintegrate into nothing and die, and then the next movie after that, Spider-Man now has to watch Tony die. It was just like, it was a sweet irony there.
I was kind of expecting to have Peter Parker. I don't feel so good. I was kind of like half expecting that, just had to like pay homage from the last movie, but that didn't happen.
The memes. I don't feel so good.
I don't feel so good.
Yeah, his nightmare was finally over, which is, it basically all the nightmares he was sharing like visions of stuff. And I was wondering, I was trying to tie in the whole vision he had in Avengers Age of Ultron, where he saw all of his friends laying dead on what looked like the moon. And the only one that actually paid off was seeing Captain America's shield cut in half. That actually was true in what happened in there. And man, GG's to Captain America getting his shield bursted in half, and he's still beating the tar out of Thanos.
Right?
I'm like, geez,
Cowboy
man.
Nick's favorite Avenger right there. God bless his soul.
But,
Captain America.
I like when Tony called Nebula Blue Meanie as a nod to the Beatles music video.
The Blue Meanie.
It was so good. Oh my God, the quick wit of that man. I figure it was kind of weird because
didn't he call somebody Squidward in Infinity War? I forgot who it was.
Yeah, that was Ebony Maw.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, because he called him Squidward. I remember that line too, which was I
was getting
be
the
quiet,
feeling
you
they would
talking
come back
Build-A-Bear
Infinity
was
War.
probably the best one, hands down.
I was getting the feeling the Black Order would come back in Endgame, but they didn't really do as much as, Infinity War.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about Rocket to Build-A-Bear.
Bradley Cooper forgot about that up until
I was
gonna
say Bradley Cooper does an amazing job as Rocket. He really does.
He really does.
And
you know who the realest MVP of the entire movie though was? Who helped the Avengers save the world?
Rest in peace,
not Stan Lee.
I know.
No, it was
rest
the
in peace him though.
That would be the Rat. The Rat was the MVP. Without the Rat opening the door to the where Ant-Man was caught in the van.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Without the Rat, there would have been no satisfying end to Endgame, and we would have been mourning the loss of all of the Fallen again.
Yeah, GG's
but
to
the
that
realest
rat.
of MVPs. That rat was the MVP.
Random rat.
little slimy rats save the day.
It's weird
no
how
one will ever
still
know.
Rats after the snap.
Yeah.
It's like half the population's wiped out on Earth due to one finger snap.
I always wonder about the finger snap as to, when I did the finger snap at first, I was thinking, how is it that when you snap, I thought it was just when you snap your fingers, it kills half the life on Earth. But I guess it's the intention of the beholder, I guess is what they were saying. So Thanos wanted to take half of the universe's life force away. So when he snaps it, the power of the Infinity Stones makes it happen. But when Hulk snaps it back to reality, then everyone's alive again. But then, when Iron Man snaps, I guess his intention was to destroy all the Chitauri and the... I mean, it was kind of weird to kind of try to follow that because they had like 3 snaps all together, 2 in the movie. But dude, I thought Ant-Man died after that. All those rockets were coming after the Avengers base. That was just pure and utter destruction. That was like the most amazing scene. Seeing Ant-Man's like, hey, there's a butterfly, and all of a sudden, just blowing up the entire base.
I was actually thinking Hulk was gonna die too because he was trying to hold the entire base.
Speaking of Hulk, how about that transfer blood that Professor Hulk? Yeah, where he, I guess what he did was he controlled the anger. I guess, or he I don't remember what he did though.
It's another Easter egg to
it's
to
like another.
books,
I know it's another Easter.
Yeah.
I know it's another Easter egg to that too.
Well, what he did is he went back into the Gamma thing where he became the Hulk, and he found a way to not only suppress the anger tantrums, but to kind of mold his body with his mind with the strength of the Hulk. So he was able to get the best of both halves, the brains and the calmness of Banner, but then the strength and utter just brutality of the Hulk. But he's able to
but he didn't do too much in the movie, really.
He did a little bit, yeah.
He did a little bit. He did a little bit.
He wasn't as brutal and crazy. I did like when they went back to New York, though.
Go smash something, and then he just
he just flicks everything. It was so good.
Oh my god!
You could clearly tell he didn't enjoy being the Hulk right there.
No, I did like how there were 2 things that were really nice though with Tony Stark at part of his arc being able to go back, see his dad, walk with him, and talk with him for all that time.
That was so emotional.
Yeah, it was great. And then him being able, and he made the awkward hug to his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Just made the awkward hug, and it's that's a great closure to that particular thing that he's been wanting to do. Because if you remember from that one, what is that thing he used in I think it was Age of Ultron, where he was showing how it's Civil War, the machine that you can go back in time and relive moments in your life, and he was always wanted to tell his father how much he loved him. And to embrace him, but then he finally gets to do that in person. That's just a great closure for him too, as a person. I mean, honestly,
thank you for your service.
Yeah,
yeah.
You'd see Jarvis, of course, in person before he was an AI.
People were saying that he's from this show.
Agents of Shield. Yeah,
he was. No, he was also from Peggy. He was from Peggy Carter's spinoff. It only lasted a season or 2. Peggy Carter agent. She's the original founder of Shield. So she was at Jarvis around.
Yeah, like you said, that didn't last very long though.
No, it just didn't have enough legs under it. Shield still has some legs under it, just because it has superheroes, I think. But
everybody liked it when Samuel L. Jackson came back for a quick cameo. Nick Fury.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Yeah, but people are saying that freaking Steve Rogers or Chris Evans is gonna start making some cameos in future movies.
He could, because in the comic books
there possible. I could see it happening.
There was an old Captain America, and he actually became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, I mean, they could do that. If they wanted to bring him back, just not in the capacity that he's used to, he could still be like the moral police in a sense. Come to S.H.I.E.L.D., make an amazing speech, and then it's be like Fury and disappear.
Right?
But
not only that, but they could also make some Robert Downey Jr. cameos as well.
Hey, don't forget though, that's America's ass.
That is America's ass. Wow, that is America's ass when he kicked his own ass.
That was actually a really good strategy if you think about it. If you fight your past self, and he's saying Bucky's still alive, and it gets him off guard for a second, and he's able to knock out his past self. That was really good.
I love that part where he was like, "I could do this all day" to himself.
I could do this. I know. Yeah, they had some great one-liners in that movie. I mean, especially with the story overall, because like overall the movie was like 3 hours and 2 minutes long, but it didn't even seem that way when you got into the story because everything went by so fast. Like you didn't think it was like 3 hours, but then they like look at the time. Holy. It was 3 hours, like...
You know, people were thinking that movie dragged in the first hour. I'm like, I don't think so, because it's... I didn't look at it that way, because what it was doing was establishing... It was establishing the aftermath of what happened to Thanos, and people had to actually feel the impact it hit on New York. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to go to space now. Even after they went to find Thanos in the first, like, 5 minutes of the movie, they found him and realized he destroyed the stones. And so Thor finally... does what he wants to do, which is chop Thanos' head off.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, yeah, I love that right at the beginning with Thor, and he just like hit Thanos' head off. I should have aimed for the head, which Amish was.
He told me to aim
for the head.
Yeah. Freaking Sam was asking, "What did you do?" And he's like, "I aimed for the head."
Right. Yeah. Paying homage to the Infinity War.
I mean. Yeah,
but
but it's like
got the satisfaction of killing him.
I kind of wonder, like, where were all the Chitauri? It's like almost like he did what he needed to do, and I'm wondering if that snap killed the Chitauri too. Because he had no coverage.
Like he had intentions.
He was just by himself. He was just by himself. He did everything he needed to do. You'd think
he was by himself
the
on his own farm with his crops, but yet he was just living there by himself.
Yeah, just by himself, and Captain Marvel told him he's just sitting there by himself, and they ended up destroying him anyways.
So he got destroyed twice.
Yep, he got his head chopped off, then he got disintegrated. But
yeah, what would be the worst part?
I do like that.
What would be the worst way to go out of the two?
Probably the beheading.
It kind of hit me hard when I saw Thanos, all burnt up from his side. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell happened to him?
I mean, that's paying homage to the fact that when you use the Infinity Stone, it's so powerful that it can actually affect you. And that's people were arguing. Oh, wait a minute, how come Thor didn't use the gauntlet? I said, well, first of all, he was drunk out of his mind, and second of all, it's like I don't think it would be a smart decision for him to do it. He was like, well, he's a demigod. But then I think Hulk brought it back to Earth, saying like, no, I have gamma radiation in me, so I can take it. So he would be the most powerful being of the group to take it, and he did. He burned a little bit, but he's still alive. I don't know. Would Thor? Would Thor have survived? Killed him. Seriously, would Thor have survived? I mean, come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. He's a demigod. He got
his eye chopped off, and it's. That was the big debate. People kept complaining like, "Oh, I thought Thor should have had it," but like, no, it makes sense that because in the comics, again, there was a reference to how Hulk had the Infinity Gauntlet on his hand as well in the comics at some point. So that was just paying homage to that as well. But
yeah, even when he snapped the fingers,
Nebula to get the gauntlet the whole time, but I guess not.
There was double Nebulas, remember, because the future one and then the one from the past who was still under
That's weird.
Thanos'
it's like, are they like on the same Wi-Fi connection or something? It's just like, how is it that she can know exactly, like, have the thoughts of future Nebula and past Nebula are linked. That's kind of odd. I didn't understand how that was possible.
I thought the future Nebula was going to disintegrate when she killed her past self, but that obviously wasn't the case. That's what I thought at first. Like, she sacrificed herself.
That would have been really fitting, though, that her last good deed was killing herself to save others, to save her sister. That would have been a great ending to her story arc.
But she saved others anyway, so...
Well, yeah, just like what Tony Stark did, right, in the climax of the movie. I mean, to sacrifice one life just to save 1,000, as somebody once said.
Maybe because she's a robot. Maybe because she's a robot and not a pure human. Maybe that's how she survived. Because if she was human, then obviously she'd disintegrate because she killed her past self. But since she's a robot, maybe that's their out, going, no, she's a robot, so she can't die if she killed herself in the past.
Right.
But that would, honestly, that would have, script-wise, if I was going to, if that was the end for Nebula, that would have been a fitting way to write her off, is saying she sacrificed her life for her sister.
I feel like they could have done, like, way, way better. I feel like that would have been the more proper solution, in my opinion.
That would have been, yeah. They're probably just going for deaths that will hurt people deeply. And I know the biggest thing people kept arguing about the whole, bring back the Widow. It's like, no, well, here's the thing. He even mentioned it, that I tried to snap her back into existence, but it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't have worked anyways, because she died, back in the past, and now she ceases to exist. So it's that was the whole point. You knew she wasn't going to come back after that because of the whole soul for soul thing. With Thanos killing her own daughter in Infinity War, that's basically what it was, except it's kind of like reversed a little bit.
Yeah, the difference was that we were killing future Black Widow in the past, but then people were like, well, wait a minute, couldn't you just go to the very past before that happened and get Widow right there? It's like, no, because if you take her out of that time...
if you take her out of it, then the whole world's not saved.
It's a new story arc is what it is.
Yeah, it's a brand new story.
Doctor Strange's sensei, I can't remember her name. It's
I was just about to mention that too. Like, if you take one of the stones... You take one of the stones, like time is, there's going to be another alternate reality.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's like, that was the biggest argument. People were like, wait a minute, why couldn't you bring back Widow? I'm like, well, there's your explanation. Because if you did, then everything everyone has done would be for nothing. So
exactly. So sacrifices need to be played. And I feel like it was honestly...
fitting.
Yeah, it was fitting. I was just going to say it was fitting.
Yeah, it's fitting for her to have that kind of image that she... I mean, not that she wouldn't take a sacrifice for anyone in the beginning with, because she was always making sacrifices for her team, but it's fitting that she sacrifices her life to save her best friend's life, who is clearly on the wrong path, on the wrong side of the path of his life.
Right.
And she realizes that, no, you have a family. You're my only family I have left other than the Avengers. So she sacrificed, in the end, she sacrificed herself for family, for her best friend, Hawkeye, and then for her entire family in the Avengers. So... That's kind of sucks, though. They didn't give her a proper funeral, though. I mean, they gave Tony this amazing funeral for him.
Yeah,
and then,
but they didn't have time, though. They didn't have really a lot of time,
at the same... I was going to say at the same time, like, both... like flowers for both her and for Tony. Because they both made big sacrifices to save the universe. Tony took his, snapped with the worst death possible. Whereas Widow's was a quick death, whereas his was just, like, suffering throughout the...
Yeah,
that was insane. But they did do an Easter egg for as Guardians of the Galaxy, though.
Yeah, which goes back to my point that I made earlier. I feel like a spin-off between the Guardians and Thor would be something I would actually watch.
I feel like it's going to be either centered around Adam Warlock, which is something that I know Penguin's been hitting on a lot, or it's going to be centered around trying to find Gamora and bring her back, bring her back to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
How about our boy Dave Bautista making a comeback in that movie?
Oh my gosh!
When I saw him enter, I was kind of half-ass expecting him to clothesline one of the Chitauri, just like
do a Batista bomb.
Yeah, just do like a clothesline. That would have been so funny if that happened. I would have been the only one that would have just died of laughter in the theater if that obviously happened.
So in your theater when you were watching it, was everybody like screaming excitement when all those doors from the Doctor Strange's portals came and all the Avengers came through and
no, it was pretty quiet. It was pretty quiet. Everything was quiet.
People were going crazy.
I know, like, mine too. People from my theater were like, "Oh my god, yes!"
And this was a much bigger battle than the one in Wakanda. Like, holy crap!
Yeah, the battle was. I feel like this was one of the best Marvel battles I've seen though in a long time.
And then seeing Captain Marvel coming, and when they think all is lost, Captain Marvel comes out of nowhere and just completely obliterates Thanos' ship. I'm like, yeah, dude.
It was like Thor, where he was fucking shit up in Wakanda, where he just went through the whatever it is.
Oh yeah, no question.
The pods.
Yeah.
Just all. Yeah, because it kind of pays homage to the fact. You remember the ending cutscene with Infinity War, obviously, when they saw Captain Marvel's thing on it. You knew she was gonna play a huge difference, like hands down.
But yeah, she wasn't in that movie that much, really.
Well, that's the thing is, people were asking me at my work. They were asking me, I'm gonna see Endgame. Do I need to see Marvel first? And I told them, like, well, I saw it, and honestly, if you don't see Captain Marvel, unless you want knowledge of how she got her powers, it really won't affect Endgame that much. I mean, it'll just be if you're unknowledgeable about the comic books.
And that's the same. That's the same with all the Marvel movies too. You got to watch from like Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and then all the way to Endgame.
Oh, are you kidding me? You kidding me? I guarantee you, this thing's gonna come out on DVD, or in this case, it might come out on the Disney Network, right? Because the Disney Network is set to launch in November. Yeah, the Disney app, I should say.
Yeah, they own Marvel, I think, right?
Every single one's going to be on there. You know, the moment that launches, if I get that thing, I'm going to be binge watching all of those movies, all 22.
I've already seen all the movies,
and it goes back to.
I have.
It goes back to my point. I think Disney owns Marvel, I believe. Yeah,
that's the point. They're slowly but surely taking a lot of the Marvel movies that were on there before, like a regular Avengers and all of the other ones prior to Infinity War. They're slowly taking them off of Netflix so they can put them on their app. So they have the exclusive. They already have the exclusive rights, but they have the exclusive rights to that movie, and that's the only place you could see it unless you have a DVD for it. But,
yeah, no question.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of another thing I was thinking about the movie that really. The part about how he handed off the reins to rule Asgard to God, I'm blanking on her name. Valkyrie, yes.
Yeah.
That was really
something
good.
like
Oh, I was happy when I saw Korg and Meek come back. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like they were just playing Fortnite. I'm like, bro, this is not how I expected it.
Shout out to my girl Natalie Portman, even though she got tasered by Rocket.
I bet she liked it though. She liked being tasered by Rocket.
Just to get the what was that called? What were they were?
They were trying to get the ether from.
Yeah, the ether. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought it was. I knew it started with an E, not the ether from zombies. From BO4. Yeah, we're talking about the
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about that ether.
But a quick burning question: which movie's better, Infinity War or Endgame?
Well, before I answer that, I want to go back to the cutscene here real quick. With excuse me. Thor and his mother, when she dies on the very day, they go back in time.
That was a great close to that arc.
It was.
Too.
It was.
It was good closure.
I felt like it was top 3 closure in that movie for sure.
Basically, everybody got their moment in that movie.
And that was the point to be 3 hours long. I mean, Russo's wanted to emphasize that they wanted to make it to where, as it being Endgame, they wanted at least the main guys, the main 3 of the movie, Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, the main big guys who've had their movies, to have at least some kind of a full circle to their story arc, whereas 2 out of the 3 are officially, more or less, officially done. One of them for sure because Iron Man died. So 3 of them
ironic because he's the one that started it all, Iron Man, with those movies.
Yeah, and then it's like, I like how they did though, where they. Thor's arc on Asgard kind of ended in a sense because he handed off the reins to Valkyrie. He finally got to say goodbye to his mother before she died. That good moment where he was worthy, where he got Mjolnir came over to him again in that particular part, and then he was able to do what he did. But then going with the Guardians now, because he's made friends with them, and now he wants to answer the calling of being a hero in other galaxies as well.
And he wants to make his presence felt as well. So back to a race question about which movie was better. To me, I think Endgame, hands down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Endgame. I mean, I love both movies, but Endgame, it was... Like I said, it goes back to my point where you feel you were watching like a 3-hour movie, and again, it doesn't even feel like it's been 3 hours. It's like more of a 2 hours and 20 minutes, or somewhere around there. And of course, Infinity War was like the same amount of time, 2 hours 30 minutes too. But it's just the way it was all set up with Endgame, with different characters, their stories, their emotional moments. You couldn't have written up a better script than that.
If this movie does not get an Academy Award, honestly, not just for visual effects, but for actual story itself, for actors and actresses, I will be absolutely shocked. I mean, every single person did an incredible job. Nobody did like that guy sucked in the movie. No, everybody really, really band together, and it was an absolutely Academy Award-winning movie. And I'm not just saying it because I'm a Marvel fan, but that was... King was asking me last night, like, which one's your favorite movie of all time? This easily is my top 3.
Oh,
easily.
yeah.
It could be number 1. But
if it wasn't for Infinity War, Endgame wouldn't have been as good as it is today.
Yeah, because Infinity War was the setup to Endgame. It's kind of like Star Wars a little bit, with the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, obviously back in the 80s. That's what it reminded you of. It's just, obviously, and George Lucas actually kind of said it best. So there's no, happy second chapter, because you introduce the heroes, and then you get the next movie into a certain situation where they can't get out of it. In the third act they get out of it. I feel like that was like one of the best points he made, and that goes to show you with even with all the Avengers movies and their situations, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you see right now, like Star Wars, it's ironic. There's a lot of ends. There's an ends to a lot of things, and this is like video game related, video game storyline related, and also movie related. This year is the end of a lot of storylines that people have invested in. Number one on the list, because that's since the past, on the Star Wars saga is going to be ending this year. That's their last one.
And
Rise of
they better
Skywalker.
end it for good. I'm not going to deal with that shit again.
And then of course you have. Kind of during the Avengers movie, kind of hand in hand, is on a video game note, the Black Ops franchise with the Ether story. The Ether story is going to be ending in the next 2 DLCs, and that's something that people have invested in 10 years. They've invested in that particular storyline with Rick Toffin and everyone. And now you have Endgame as well.
How about Toy Story 4? Toy Story 4 was going to be another movie. Well, a little off topic, but Toy Story 4 was one of the here's a guy that stutters a lot. But anyways, I mean,
I haven't been as invested in that movie series, but go on.
I mean, I feel like they said before the shooting of the movie, during and afterwards, that's gonna get emotional too. I heard bits and pieces of Toy Story. They said it's gonna be they said it was gonna be the final one, right? The 4th one.
Sense.
It would. Yeah, they've been talking about that being the final Toy Story, and I feel like that's going to be true. And there's a lot of good movies, I think, coming out this year. Obviously, apart from the Star Wars, and then obviously the Lion King.
Impact me as much as Endgame.
Aladdin, Detective Pikachu's obviously another one. But yeah, you got all these movies coming out this year that are just like, what? How are you gonna have all this time just to pay for one movie?
Honestly, Endgame is gonna hit me the hardest for this year.
Oh, Endgame will. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It hit me really, really hard, to my core, and my heart.
Like you can't
physically
do
and emotionally. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. And if all of you guys don't agree, well, obviously you either haven't seen the movie yet. I don't know if you guys are obviously still here. I commend you, but you guys need to go watch it. You guys need to go watch this movie. 10 out of 10.
So now, don't think about watching it for DVD. You need to see this in theaters, all right?
And plus,
it's
worth the 3 hours. It's worth.
If you believe this, your boy O'King gave this movie 7 out of 10 because of the lack of action. I'm like, what? 7?
Lack of action?
There were.
Yeah. I'm like, what? I mean, I told him if you want to give it that, I would give it a 9 out of 10 if you're going to do that for action, but not 7. That's
I mean, if that's his opinion, I mean, that's fine. All the power to him, but I would have said like at least a 8.9 or a 9 for the action part. But the storyline,
I told him last night,
the storyline is 10. Yeah. The story is an absolute 10.
The entire thing for me, all around 10. It hits on every emotion. That a movie that's really good will invest you in the story, and clearly, because this has been a 22 movie franchise, we're invested. But a good movie will invest you from start to finish. I did not feel like in any part of that movie that I was bored. I did not feel at all.
Oh no,
I was just intensely watching.
My eyes were glued to the screen the entire time.
Mm-hmm. And if you have not seen the previous Marvel
I went
movies,
to the bathroom. I didn't go anywhere. I mean, I even like. I feel bad because I kind of made my wife get the popcorn before the movie because I'm like, no, I am not gonna go. I'm not gonna leave and miss something in this movie. And she's like, "There's the first previews," and I'm like, I do not want to miss anything. So
right, but yeah. Oh man, I mean, honestly, like, final thoughts. You guys want to give out any final thoughts?
Real quick before we do that, like, of all the 22 movies now we've wrapped up with this one, can you possibly put a top 3 of all the 22 movies together of your absolute favorites? Like, it doesn't have to be in any order because that's a little hard to do on the spot. But top 3, it doesn't have to be in any order. It could be like your 1 is at a 3 or whatever. But just off the top of your head, your top 3.
Endgame. Deadpool and the first Iron Man.
Deadpool,
out of all the Marvel movies. Yeah, I feel like, that movie...
That's a unique list.
Yeah, that movie... I mean, I love Deadpool, the character, obviously, so this is kind of biased for me saying this, but I feel like Ryan Reynolds did an exceptional job as Deadpool.
True. But was he considered a part... Well, I'm talking about the 22 movie franchise from that side, the Avengers side of things, not Marvel in general.
Here's a nice little Easter egg tip. Like, Deadpool couldn't die anyways, even despite even though the Thanos snap was in, the whole thing was like that. Remember his condition? He couldn't die. And that's like a whole nother, story to that, too.
Like, he was cutting his hand off, and it started growing back as a baby hand.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. So that's kind of like my list.
Here's a little side bit Easter egg for that before we continue that list. Is that because Universal had the rights to the X-Men, I think that Kevin Feige and the Russos, they wanted to put the X-Men in this movie. But because of the fact that they didn't have the rights until after they started production, they just scratched that idea and went with the Avengers. And I'm glad, because it's kind of hard to throw the X-Men into a series where they weren't even there until, like, the end. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that was the case. But,
exactly.
Okay, so Kyle, so non-Deadpool. So you got to replace Deadpool because it's not a part of the 22-movie franchise. Go ahead.
All right, so the first Iron Man, obviously Endgame, and... Ooh, the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like a two-way tie between Guardians of the Galaxy and the I would say the first Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would put Guardians of the Galaxy just barely for me.
Okay, honestly,
I don't know, just all the characters, in Guardians just play like an exceptional role. Like, they play off each other so well.
My top 3 is gonna be dumb, but I'm gonna say Infinity War, Endgame, and the first Avengers.
Okay.
Doesn't sound dumb.
That's not dumb. I mean, I've heard way worse.
But I say it's dumb because I'm basically only pointing out the Avengers movies. That's what I'm saying.
Actually, you're probably gonna end up. My list is almost gonna be close to the same in no particular order because I still cannot to this day. Put which one's number 1 in my list. Of course, Endgame's in that top 3. I already mentioned that. I also want to say Captain America: Civil War is right in my top three.
Civil War would have probably
watched
made
that so many times.
It's in my top 5 for sure.
I watched that on my cruise, and it was on like the entire time I was on the cruise, and I almost watched it every single night before I went to sleep. It was that good. And
that was a movie I loved rewatching like over and over again.
It should have been called Avengers Civil War, not Captain America Civil War, honestly.
Yeah.
But on the same ref, Captain America Winter Soldier. Unbelievable movie. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And for Captain America's storyline, that hit home for him. Not me, it didn't hit me anywhere. But it was still a good, well-written storyline where it's like the struggle he wants to stop Bucky from doing all these negative things, but he doesn't want to kill him. He wants to try to, save him.
Mm-hmm.
And then just having this, and then having S.H.I.E.L.D. falling apart in the background as well. Like all the things he's invested his time in are falling apart.
Oh yeah.
But that kind of like struggle he had. Yeah, that was really, really good. All three of those are easily my top 3. But not to pay any disrespect to the solo movies, but those are the ones that really I enjoy, and I would easily rewatch more so than the other ones.
All right, here's another top 3 I'm going to do, like real quick before we get off here. Top 3 Stan Lee cameos in the Marvel movies.
R.I.P. Stan Lee.
Yeah,
okay,
rest in
peace. I want to say
but
the one from Spider-Man. What's it called? Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. That's still a Marvel movie.
That's not in the 22.
It's not the 22 though. It's not that you gotta go from. I can give you at least 2. Obviously, one of the I forgot which Iron Man movie it was, but he was the FedEx. I think he was the FedEx driver or UPS driver or something. And I
remember this.
I have a
Tony
package
Stank?
from Tony Stank.
Oh man.
I think Endgame was the other one because that was obviously his final appearance. He's like, make love, not war, and he's driving away in a car with like a blonde chick or like a hot brunette chick.
Oh yeah, and they de-aged him there too.
Yeah, a little cinematic effect there also, like CGI.
Yeah.
And I think the third one for me, which one was it where he's stuck in space? I forgot which one that was.
I think it was Volume 2.
That might have been
Volume 2. Was it Volume 2? Yeah, I think it was Guardians.
I think it was Guardians 2.
Yeah, Guardians 2.
They were teleporting through everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to get back.
2.
That was my top 3, for sure.
It was the alien race that known as the Watchers.
That was actually 2 cameos in the movie, because one was at the post-credit scene, and then during the movie.
Yeah.
Like, they showed him twice.
Yeah, that was my top 3. What about your guys' top 3 from the 22 movies?
I think one of them that really stuck out to me was when he was at one of Tony Stark's parties. I think it might have been Iron Man 1. Where he's Stark looks at me, he's like, "You look good, Hef." He's playing Hugh Hefner. I'm like, that is so good.
I forgot about that.
It was so good. Yeah, I'm with you with the whole.
He
could have played a good too.
He could have played a good Hugh Hefner, honestly. If you think about it.
Yeah.
Wait,
he was pretty funny though, and it was like Tony Stank. That was Civil War, I think, is what it was. Civil War.
Yeah. Civil War. Yeah, it was Civil War.
Wasn't he having a drinking competition with Thor, and then he lost, and he's like Excelsior as he's walking away?
I think the last of my third would probably be an Iron Man 3 where he's like a beauty pageant judge and he happily scores a contestant a 10. I'm like, Stan, you just dirty dog. You're so good.
I like Stan. He's my hero. Freaking Bill.
Stan Lee is the man. I will gladly play Stan Lee in a pageant.
Alright guys, so anyways, thank you guys so much for enjoying the review show. If you guys did enjoy it, please drop a like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications if you're new to my channel, and for those who are watching on Twitch, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, I will see you guys tomorrow. Shout out to Ray the Rabbit, shout out to Mattman, thank you guys so much for being here, as always. The homies, definitely go check them out. Mattman, the Mattman98 YT on YouTube and Twitch, and Ray the Rabbit on YouTube also, so definitely go check them out as well. I'll put their links in the description below, so please go subscribe to them. So I will see you guys.
What was your rating of the movie?
Hey, Kyle, real quick, for your YouTube side, Are you on YouTube right now? Oh wait, you're watching.
I'm on Twitch. How do I like on Twitch? I'm liking Twitch is awesome. Miyamoto, it is.
I was gonna say
awesome.
if you're on YouTube, you could raid Dubbed Out because he's playing what you did before. He's doing a full playthrough of Arkham Asylum.
What did you guys rate the movie?
But 10 out of 10. But anyways,
10 out of 10 easily.
Anyways, yeah. Good night, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.